In this next session, in continuing our discussion on host security, let's look at using security baselining tools. Now there are certain tools built into some of the systems, Unix, Linux, and so forth, that can tell you if your system maintains a certain state of security. In other words, you've done all the right things, you've secured your system, you've logged down files, you've properly created users, no one's using the root account when they shouldn't be, and so forth. But you may want to also run tools that gives you a baseline of security and tells you if you're meeting that baseline from time to time. Now a baseline tool will tell you if something has changed with the system. In other words, if a file has changed, if you've got a rootkit on the system. It's doing the same thing that antivirus tools might do for Windows. And of course, we know that there are not a lot of big deals with viruses out there for Linux and Unix. There are still some tools out there that check for viruses, but it kind of does the same thing. It runs every now and then and tells you if something has changed on the system, usually with system files, directories, and so forth. Now in conjunction with logging and auditing, these tools can alert you to security issues that are going on the system. An audit log may tell you that something has happened. Looking at the logs may tell you that something has happened, and Tripwire and CheckRootKit, two of the tools we'll talk about, could help you find things wrong with the system as well. Now we mentioned Tripwire and CheckRootKit. Tripwire is a piece of software that's been out there for a while. It was open source. Some of the newer versions are commercial and closed source, but you can still download and use the open source versions, the older versions, and it's still included in some Unix and Linux distributions for you to install. Tripwire is included in your ports collection if you chose to install all the ports collection into BSD Unix. CheckRootKit can be added using the package add command. We're going to look at both of those tools here in just a moment. Now there are other tools as well that will help you do this, and it really depends upon the distribution of Unix or Linux that you have. You can use these tools or other tools as well, and these are just examples of some of the tools you can use to baseline security on your system. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. Okay, looking at our FreeBSD 8 virtual machine, first tool we want to run is the CheckRootKit tool. And again, this tool can be added through the package add command. I've already added it, and it's a very simple tool that will look at key system files and so forth to see if they've changed or if there's a known rootkit in them. So we'll look at these files. It's going to check the built-in sniffers logs. The kernel has a built-in sniffer, and it's looking through that. It's looking through several files, and it's comparing them and seeing if they match signatures for known rootkits. And we've got the whole list here, and nothing was infected. So there's one tool we can use. We can run that periodically if we like. Another tool we can use is Tripwire, and I'm going to run that with the -M-C options so we can get a quick integrity check. We could also run it verbose. That would take a little bit of time. Go ahead and just run it like this for right now. And Tripwire, basically what it does is it maintains a database of all the files in the system, their checksums, hashes, and so forth, so that if something changes, it can compare that change to the file in the database, what it's supposed to be, and it can tell you that this file has changed. And you might want to run that occasionally after you've done some changes to the system, after a system test, for example, or after a system update, or if you suspect that this system has been attacked. Let's go ahead and run that. Now it can take a little while, and had we run it with the -V option, it would have given us the verbose checks, and you would have been able to see a lot of files passing before your screen as it checks just about each and every file on your system. We'll get some output to the screen occasionally if it can't find a file that it expects to find or so forth. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and interrupt and run Tripwire with the -V option just so you can kind of see how that's going to look. We're not going to let it finish because it's going to take a good long while to run. It could take upwards of an hour to run, so we'll probably interrupt it, but you'll be able to see kind of what it looks like there. That's what you're going to see for quite a long time. And it's checking every file that is in its database, and when you first install it, you have to basically initialize the database. Then from then on out, there are comparisons made against each file, so you can kind of see what's changed. And we're not going to let this finish because it's going to take a while. As long as you get into Tripwire, look at the switches available, see what it can do, it's not very difficult to use. So I would recommend that you install it, use it, and establish your database, and then run it periodically after a system change or an update. Let's go ahead and end that now. And we've talked basically about two system baselining tools, CheckRootKit and Tripwire. And Tripwire and CheckRootKit can basically help you determine if there's been changes, in some cases bad changes, to the system files on your host, and can tell you in conjunction with logging and with auditing if there are some security issues or security trends you need to be aware of.